is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
X Insurance. From the SIG Sauer Studios. On the Patriot Mobile Platinum Microphone. Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. The Thursday edition of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense begins right now. We have a rare daytime appearance from AWR Hawkins. We'll go to him in just a second. Greg in Dallas, Texas, how you doing today, brother?
Not too bad.
Okay, well, we're streaming all over the place. Go ahead and tell people where to watch us. Yeah, we're streaming everywhere, where they can watch us, where they can participate in chats and all that fun stuff. And we'll go to AWR Hawkins. We've got him on the road for about 2 segments.
All right, sure. If you want to watch the show, just search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters over on YouTube, Rumble, and Fascist Book. If you want to join our live chat, just head on over to your app store, grab the Telegram messaging app, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
And don't forget X, formerly known as Twitter. X today. Formerly known as Twitter, yeah.
At AAR Mark.
At AAR Mark. Thank you, guys, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Like and share those live posts. We do appreciate that very much. AWR Hawkins on the road. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good. And you were mentioning that. You might, just for listeners' sake, I may cut out. I hope I don't. But I am over here traveling to where I'm going to hunt. So I hope I have good signal for, the next 30 minutes.
What are you going to be hunting? I already know.
Elk and coyotes.
Ooh. Both very fun.
So I brought the Henry Supreme, their new lever action. It takes 5.56 magazines, just like an AR. Beautiful lever action, and I am going to absolutely ruin some coyotes tonight. If I can spot me a pack of coyotes, I am going to go on a tear. I've got a race thermal on it from Pulsar. Night vision.
Nice.
And so, I mean, you think about that. Grandpa had a lever action, but guess what? Wasn't a Henry. Sure wasn't a Henry that took 5.56, and it sure wasn't a Henry that took 5.56 with a thermal on it and a suppressor. So I'm ready to roll.
Greg, it beats a baseball bat, doesn't it?
Sure does.
For coyotes when they're going after your chickens, you know what I'm saying?
Sure
AWR, you want to stay out of Colorado. I mean, Colorado wants to make that rifle you're talking about illegal, don't they?
Anything basically that takes a detachable mag, right. They want to ban. They over there in Colorado, they put the C in communist. That's what I think.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Before I go into the gun control groups and some of their claims, I got to ask you, there's a bizarre story out of Tennessee that you wrote about, but how does a pit bull accidentally shoot its sleeping owner? I mean, pit bulls can be nasty dogs, but how do they shoot their owners when their owners are asleep? How does that work?
Well, this situation, any dog of size could have done this. This dog just pounced on the bed, and the owner had his gun lying on the bed. And so the part of the dog's paw got jammed between the trigger guard and the trigger, and when he was twisting his paw out when the dog was doing that, it fired the gun. And so, I mean, I don't want to pick on that dog owner too bad, but I do want to kind of say, don't do stupid things.
Yeah.
Don't set your gun in the bed. I mean, you could even roll over on it, and through some trick of fate, you could accidentally pull that trigger and shoot yourself. It doesn't make any sense. That's why they make nightstands. Put the gun on the nightstand. You can reach it plenty fast right there. And don't put a gun in your bed, folks. It just, I mean, come on.
Something like this can happen because this happened. So it is possible for it to happen. And I think it's interesting. The dog's name is Oreo, and there's a picture of the dog. I don't. Is that the actual dog that accompanies the Breitbart piece? Or is that just
I don't know if it is, but I know I wish I had that dog. It made me miss Brewster.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wouldn't have been over your house.
With Brewster, the big threat was he would chew your head off your body while you were sleeping. He would never shoot you. But I sure missed it.
Yeah, yeah. I never met him for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I was always scared of Brewster before I ever met Brewster, and I openly, readily admit that, and I do not hold my head in shame whatsoever, and I don't lose any sleep over that. I'm good with my Shih Tzu, Huey. I'm good with that. And Huey loves AWR too, by the way. I do have pictures of AWR and Huey. I just want to say that. So, AW, let me go back. In that story, you talk about putting the gun on a nightstand. I did some training for a guy who had a court order against him. He was doing a construction job down in Miami when I was living down in Florida, and he had a gun on a nightstand in a Holiday Inn down there where they were doing this construction work. Alarm went off about 3:30 in the morning. He reached over to turn the alarm off, groggy, 3:30 in the morning, had the gun out of the holster for whatever reason on the nightstand, wound up pulling the trigger on the Glock that was sitting on the nightstand, put a hole in the wall at the Holiday Inn, cleared out the hotel. He was charged. And ladies and gentlemen, it's just good advice. Keep the gun in the holster for that matter, because these things can happen, and it did happen to him. He did take some training from me. We were able to provide him a certificate. He showed that to the court, and it was all satisfied. He had to pay a little fine. But in addition to that, bad things can happen, okay? And they can happen accidentally, and they can happen very quickly when you don't even think they're going to happen. So it's just good public service announcement. A-Dubs, I gotta go here with you, and we could probably, if I had you for the hour, we could probably stay on this for the hour. But Gabby Gifford's gun control group is making a claim that is so outrageous. Just when you think, ladies and gentlemen, these people have reached rock bottom, they find a way to dig a deeper pit. They're claiming 1 in 15 American adults have survived a mass shooting in the U.S. Over 17 million people is in your headline. Is it even mathematically possible? And how stupid do they think we are to fall for this?
Well, I mean, you got to be honest. I'm not even being mean, but the Giffords group is pretty dumb. Now, I know some of them have law degrees and such, because I believe Giffords is kind of a mesh between a gun control group and a law group working for gun control laws. So some of them were smart enough to pass law school, but they're blinded by their ideology, and they don't even know to be embarrassed right here. This is like if you voted for Joe Biden, you know, there was a trip when Joe was in Germany. He crapped himself and went on to bed. That story has been told by some of his handlers now. They were trying to cover for him. They've let it out. He crapped himself and just went on to bed, the President of the United States. And so the reason I say that is these people on the left that think they're so smart, they vote for people that crap themselves and go on to bed. And they give money to groups that tell me 1 in 15 adult Americans have survived a mass shooting. That works out to about 17.5 million adult Americans. I hate to tell you, it's not true. It's not even close to true. It's not even close to being a far stretch. It's unbelievably false. And but see, these people forget every now and then, Mark. Here's what they forget every now and then. It's not the 80s anymore. This nation is not run by ABC, NBC, and CBS, and they forget that.
Yeah.
They forget it. They forget that X exists and that X is no longer being filtered by Jack Dorsey. They forget that Breitbart exists. They forget that Armed American Radio exists. They forget that certain shows on Fox News exist. You can't do this anymore. And we'll laugh at you all day. I'll laugh at them all day. And I laugh at them for just being stupid and thinking because they're stupid, they think I'm stupid. Sorry, I'm not.
Well, you know, they are smart enough to know that there are stupid people out there that voted for a president that craps himself. That's why they get away with saying this. And it was likely more than one time, too, ladies and gentlemen. There's some other stories around the Pope and everything else. But take a listen to the tweet. 1 in 15 adults have survived a mass shooting, according to researchers from multiple universities. They don't mention the researchers or the universities in the tweet. It's a startling statistic, yet it doesn't even include the number of Americans impacted by community violence, domestic violence, and suicides. So to try to lump this together when they clearly didn't do the math, and I haven't had a chance to read the healthday.com story on this. I'm going to, but I wanted to go through this headline with you because you wrote about it. It just doesn't make sense. Statistically, it just doesn't seem to make sense whatsoever. 1 in 15 people, come on, ladies and gentlemen. That means everybody you know has survived a mass shooting. It's remarkable lie.
Well, I tucked a piece there in at the end of it from AP. AP, for all of their looniness, every now and then on guns, AP has been fairly reasonable. It's kind of wild on mass shootings particularly. And AP kept a database, and according to their measure, from 2006 to 2023, 17 years, there were like 600 mass shootings. Now, That's probably quite a bit exaggerated because even when AP's being honest, they're being honest with one hand behind their back and a wink. So that's probably greatly exaggerated. But for the sake of fun, let's say it. Let's say it was 600 mass shootings in 17 years. Don't talk to me about 17 million people.
Yeah, it's impossible. It's statistically impossible. When we come back from this break, I do want to revisit this because there's a paragraph in here that AWR wrote that I want to bring to you, and then we'll talk about some other issues. We are fortunate enough to have AWR Hawkins on a Thursday, rare daytime appearance. AWR, we appreciate you being here. We know you're driving. Stay safe. We'll be back after the break with you for one more segment. The following segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Visit patriotmobile.com/AAR and use the AAR promo code to get free activation today. Welcome back to the show. Yeah, Patriot Mobile's the real deal, ladies and gentlemen. Patriot Mobile, you heard Lee Wamsgans on the show just a couple days ago, Tuesday, from the live rally in Texas. Amazing company. Make sure to check them out at patriotmobile.com/AAR and support them. If you missed the interview with her, you won't find a company that supports your gun rights like they do. I have yet to find one incredible, unless you're dealing with a gun company or something like that, obviously. But Patriot Mobile is the real deal. Make sure to check them out. Get service with a company that puts their money behind your rights, particularly as far as this show is concerned, your gun rights. And make sure to check out all of our partners. You can find them all at armedamericanradio.com. Welcome back inside the SIG Sauer studios with me, Mark Walters, in front of the Patriot Mobile mic. It's all being brought to you by X Insurance. We have AWR Hawkins for one more segment. Let's go back to AWR. Real quick, AWR, welcome back. Before I move on, I want to talk to you about Mel Gibson because this was news to me. I'm trying to go back in my head and try to remember what happened with him in 2011. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk about that in just a second. We'll go right there right after this. But I want to read this from AWR just as a kind of an exclamation point on the Giffords, I almost said a bad word, let's just say bully gig. The precise number of mass shootings in a given year or over a number of years is difficult to ascertain because the Gun Violence Archive and other pro-gun control outlets have changed the definition of such an event. In doing so, double homicides, murder-suicides, triple homicides, gang violence, and even firearm-related incidents in which zero fatalities occur are classified as mass shootings. This warped nomenclature allows pro-gun control organizations and mainstream media outlets that parrot their skewed statistics to perpetuate the demonstrably false narratives, such as the Hill's 2022 claim that over 600 mass shootings took place that year. And then you go on to reference the AP. Great paragraph. Thanks for laying that on the line. I'll let you put an exclamation point on, then we'll move over to Mel Gibson.
Right. No, I mean, it just can't be trusted. That's why every now and then on X, I'll say the Hill released new numbers today, and so far this year there have been 28,468 mass shootings. You can just make up a number; it doesn't matter,
right?
Because it doesn't represent truth at all.
Yeah, and that's why, ladies and gentlemen, you got to look at this stuff. You know, that's why you got to say. I used to say years ago, you got to sleep with toothpicks under your eyes, because these people are just gaslighting you and lying to you all day long. All right, so you have a piece up that I found interesting because I read this and I thought back. I don't remember this happening. The piece is titled at Breitbart, ladies and gentlemen, from AWR Hawkins. Former DOJ attorney claims she was fired for refusing to restore Mel Gibson's gun rights. Now, I go back in my mind, and I remember, and I was talking with Greg about this during the break, I remember in 2011 that he pled he offered a plea agreement, or took a plea, in a misdemeanor domestic violence conviction. What I was unaware of until I read this was that he'd lost his gun rights. I did not know that. What's going on with Gibson? Does he have him back? What's happening? This woman fired? Where are we with this?
No, I think we're still waiting on news because the group of people for restoration that the DOJ attorney wanted him added to, or not DOJ attorney, but deputy U.S. attorney wanted him added to, that list has not been released. So I think he still has a chance to have him restored. But this one particular attorney, Elizabeth, is it Oyer? Oyer, I believe, she just dug in her feet.
Yeah.
And what was weird to me about this is that she admitted that it's normal to restore rights after 10 to 15 years. And I'm not good at math, but I thought, 2025 minus 2011, that's 14 years. So that's right there. It's far past the 10-year minimum she listed. It's almost to the maximum. So I don't quite understand why she just didn't do it, but she didn't. But the DOJ was very clear. They said that's not why she was fired. And so, perhaps the whole truth will come out at some point, but that's where we are right now.
Yeah, she did tell the Times, she was quoted as saying, giving guns back to domestic abusers is a serious matter that, in my view, is not something that I could recommend lightly because there are real consequences that flow from people who have a history of domestic violence being in possession of firearms. I'm not sure that Mel Gibson would fall into that category as some type of serial abuser, but again, I don't know. I found it interesting simply because I was unaware that he lost his rights. Well, I do remember back in my back in the recesses of my brain, I do remember that case. I don't remember talking about it on this show back in 2011 that he had lost his gun rights. I found that interesting, but ladies and gentlemen, we'll follow it. I thought that was I thought that was strange. I hadn't heard that before. All right. I don't want to go to the stuff. I'm going to talk with you about all of this on Sunday's program. But we have a bill now that, again, something I've never seen before, that has been introduced. It was introduced Tuesday, that would, from a federal level, ban the government from any form of gun control during a declared national emergency, AWR. I've never seen a bill like that introduced. I was talking with R Lott about that yesterday on the program. He doesn't recall having seen one like that, but of course we talked about that's fairly common in a lot of states around the country. Have you ever seen a bill like that introduced in Congress?
Not at the federal level, no. But that's from Rep. Michael Cloud, and I got to be honest, that dude is on top. He's on top of it, and it's a wonderful bill. And you think about it, when a national emergency occurs, you often in such a situation, you can't even call for help in some of those situations. You are literally no play on words. You are on your own.
Yeah, and
it would be the worst of times to be denied your firearm, to be denied access to your ammunition, to be denied anything. Of course, I would say this: I get a tattoo for them if they couldn't understand my words. Will not comply. But anyway. It would be a terrible situation. So what Cloud is pushing here is wonderful.
Yeah, folks, we talked about this yesterday, but Cloud is a Republican out of Texas. Give AWR's piece over at Breitbart a read on this. I find this interesting because it's never been done before. And when I think it's never been done, I kind of ask myself, why do you feel it's never been done before?
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, I think during Trump's first presidency, we had a problem that certain things were introduced only if they thought they could pass. And I think this time around, there's an optimism that everything can pass. And so I believe ideas that people may have had 7 years ago.
Makes sense.
And they failed, they're putting them forward now because I believe National Reciprocity, Hearing Protection Act, I believe at least a drawdown on the ATF, if not abolishing them. I believe Burleson's legislation on the NFA. I believe all of that has legs. And so let's throw this in too, and let's get it all.
Get it out there.
Because I don't want to win elections. I want to crush the left. Like they're all crying right now. They have no leader. They have no vision. They have no direction. Well, let's make it even worse. They have no legislation. They have no laws on the books. Let's repeal all their gun controls. My favorite thing, I've told you, when I write, one of my favorite thoughts is to think of leftists clenching their chest as they get tight and taking nitro tablets. That's my goal when I write. And I hope this legislation achieves the same kind of end.
Well, it certainly has the ability to do that. AWR Hawkins, thanks, brother, for being here. Enjoy that hunt. I'm sure I'll talk with you. Hopefully get some pictures.
Funny.
We'll talk about it on Sunday with you, no doubt. AWR Hawkins, Breitbart News. Thanks, AWR, for being here. Please drive careful. We love you on the show. Fan favorite for a reason. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away. Thanks, AWR.
Daniel Defense firearms are guaranteed for life, trusted worldwide, and designed, engineered, and manufactured right here in America. Daniel Defense, freedom, passion, precision.
Yeah, Daniel Defense is freedom, passion, and precision, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back into the studios. We'll be talking, but going to hear some cool spots about the H9, the Daniel Defense H9 pistol. We'll be talking about that and a couple other rifles we'll be highlighting for you. Make sure to visit DanielDefense.com. Visit DanielDefense.com. And as I said, you can also support the Double D Foundation from DanielDefense.com as well, like I do. You can do the same thing. Daniel Defense has some great products over there, as you know, and we'll be highlighting a few of those. Their new pistol, which is groundbreaking over there. And I, to be honest with you, I haven't shot it yet. I've had it in my hands, and it's wonderful. I'm looking forward to getting that thing on a range. Can't wait to do that. Daniel Defense, the H9. Make sure to check it out. And, of course, everything from SIG Sauer. We're in the SIG Sauer studios. Patriot Mobile mic lit up for you. X Insurance bringing you the program today and every single day. Greg in Dallas, Texas. Some crazy stuff out there when you talk about some of this nonsense coming from Brady's, right?
Yeah, you're correct.
1 in 15 people have survived a mass shooting. That's, as AWR said, it's demonstrably false.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop them from talking about it. So when you know, how many times have we said when you think how much lower can these people go, right?
They always find a new low.
They always
find a way.
They dig it down and lower that bar. And so I guess we've got a surprise call from Ryan Petty. Is that who's on the line with us today?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's bring Ryan Petty, Parkland Dad, in and have a conversation with him. Ryan Petty, welcome to the show. How you doing, brother? Thanks for calling in.
You bet, Mark. How are you today?
I'm doing woundaba. And you?
Another busy day at the ranch.
Hey, Greg, he actually has a ranch.
You have a ranch?
You have a ranch? I'm not as
You have a
grandiose.
ranch? Hold on a second.
Ryan's not as grandiose as I am, right?
I'm not quite as grandiose as you.
He's got all the ranch. Thanks for bringing that up, Ryan. I appreciate that. Greg's got them all queued up.
Rubbing it in.
So I don't know if you've seen the report, but Greg and I were just beginning to have a conversation about this. AWR called in on a rare daily appearance over the last two segments, and he's got a piece up that, wow, it's just mind-boggling to me, and you know a little bit about mass shooting, sadly. But Giffords, Gabby Gifford's gun control group, is claiming that 1 in 15 adults have survived a mass shooting in the U.S. Now, that's over 17.5 million people, Ryan. Clearly, they think we're stupid that they even put this out. Now, as AWR pointed out, there are a lot of stupid people out there that do believe some of this stuff, but it's just simply not true. And, again, I think AWR nailed it when he said this, that the reason they get away with this is because they have changed the narrative so often, right? The gun violence archives claiming everything is a mass shooting, from double homicides, murder homicides, murder-suicides, triple homicides, gang violence, and the like. So they change that narrative so that they can come out with this garbage and nonsense. We were just talking, when you just think the bar can't get any lower for these people, the bar gets lower. Ryan, what gives?
Boy,
I hear you.
I honestly don't wish I knew what was going on in their minds, because it's some form of mental illness that I would rather not have anything to do with. That's the best description I can give. It's got to be a mental illness. Look, these people so desperately want Americans to give up their rights, particularly to their Second Amendment rights, that they will go to any length to try to lie to the American people about gun violence. And whether it's a gun violence archive, making things up, calling, if you were within earshot of a gunshot, they call it a mass shooting. And they've gone just completely off the rails. This is akin to, the folks running around talking about, global warming as an example. Say 97% of scientists say that, okay. They're making things up. They're trying to create consensus by including as large a swath of the American people as possible. If you could say 1 in 15 or 1 in 17 have experienced gun violence, well, that must be my neighbor over there. It must be this other guy. I haven't experienced it, but it must be these people. then you create a problem that is so big that only their solution seems to be an answer to it. It's like it's like the global warming folks. They create a problem so large that the only solution is for us to rewind the clock and go back 150 years and live like our great-great-grandparents did, right? These people are nuts. They need to be completely dismissed. And if it weren't for their allies in the media, I don't think they'd get any airtime at all to sort of propagate this nonsense.
Yeah, and as AWR pointed out, the media coverage that they get now has been really relinquished to the point where people no longer believe what's coming from the media. And again, we've covered this ad nauseum on the show, but why would you believe anything that they tell you? And then, are they stupid enough to continue to put this nonsense out there? Well, yeah, they are, because they do. And I think like AWR Hawkins, Breitbart, I'm glad they do, because it gives us a forum here to talk about their bald-faced lies and highlight it. Otherwise, ABC, NBC, so we can CBS, not as important anymore as they used to be. There's other ways to get news. But it is remarkable that they do continue this. It's clearly part of the strategy, and we know they're lying. So, ladies and gentlemen, just from a personal standpoint, do you like to hang around liars in your life? Do you want to stay married to a spouse that lies to you every time you turn around? What would you do with your kids if you caught them lying constantly all day long? What if your business partner was lying to you all day, or your colleagues were lying to you at work all day? Are these people that you want to be around in your life? Do you want these people in your life? You don't. So why, again, I don't understand their mindset. It's a psychological thing there, but it is fascinating to watch them do this. They just keep lowering the bar, and they don't realize just how stupid they look. I want to bring this story up. We won't get into all of it right now, but talking about stupid, Illinois Democrat lawmaker is pushing a bill, Ryan, to legalize, get this, attacks on cops, well, as long as the person is having a mental health episode. Who in their right mind would even put something, and why? How did they even conjure this up? Well, if that person's having a mental health episode, they should be able to get away with attacking the cops. How many criminals out there will just claim, well, I was having a mental health episode? Where does this even come from?
Yeah.
How do they concoct this stuff?
Yeah, and every lawyer representing every criminal will use that as attempt to use that as defense. Look, this is. I don't know who this person is. I'm going to guess that they're a Marxist, and I'm just going to call it out, because part of what the Marxist plan for a free country like America is to destabilize the country. We saw this during the summer of love in 2020. We saw this with the pandemic. Anything they can do to create mistrust in the institutions that we still have some respect for, like law enforcement. They want to look. What their ultimate goal is to create this chaos so that they can say, "Look, society is so chaotic. You're not safe out there. There's guns everywhere.
You need me.
Of you are in. You need me.
Yep.
We need government. We need the strong hand and guiding hand of government to protect you." And that's ultimately what their goal is. But this, in the short term, what this will do is cause cops to freeze. They will make more mistakes, and they will be blamed for every mistake that's made, and they will destroy what's left of the confidence we have in our law enforcement agencies.
Yeah, which they haven't already destroyed enough of, right? Just to name her, it's Democrat State Representative Lisa Davis, who is an attorney, Illinois. I mentioned an Illinois lawmaker. She's an attorney in the law office of the Cook County Public Defender's Office. The bill is House Bill 3458. It was introduced in February. Yep, ladies and gentlemen, that's good old Chi-Town, Chirac. I'll give you some shooting numbers from Chi-Town when we come back. We've got Ryan, I guess, for one more segment. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
This segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Daniel Defense. Visit DanielDefense.com. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, you know who else you need to visit? You keep your Daniel Defenses clean like I do with Barrel Buddy. BarrelBuddy.com. BarrelBuddy.com. Support these great small businesses that have these amazing patented products that wipe out your need for a patch, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to check out BarrelBuddy.com. BarrelBuddy.com. Every time I'm at the range, 2 passes through these things, gun goes right back on my holster or goes right back in my range bag. It's that simple. BarrelBuddy.com. BarrelBuddy.com. You can pick them up at the SIG Sauer Academy as well. That's how good these things are. SIG's carrying them in the academy, and a lot of other gun shops around the country have them as well. If you can't find them at your local shop, just visit BarrelBuddy.com and have them sent to you. It's the easiest, simplest way to keep your firearms clean. You can also support HeavensHarvest.com. HeavensHarvest.com for all your food supplies, emergency supplies, all that fun stuff. Emerson Knives. I got a funny story about the Emerson knife. I used it to open up a thing of Red Bulls that I'm currently drinking right now, my sugar-frees that I drink all day and probably drink too many of them, no doubt. But I poked one of the cans and didn't realize it when I tore the plastic open with the Emerson knife and had to grab it real quick and pop the top. And Greg said, reminded you of shotgunning a beer when you were in college. And that's pretty much what it was like. I had to save it from flowing all over the place. Emerson Knives are the real deals, ladies and gentlemen. EmersonKnives.com. Make sure to check out all of our partners, including BudsGunShop.com, our exclusive online retailer, BudsGunShop.com. You can find everybody at ArmedAmericanRadio.com. Ryan Petty, we still got you on the line. We got you for one more segment. Let's keep going. I do want to go back to this Illinois lawmaker for a second because I went over to a cop blog that publicized this bill. And it was called Second Cop City, a blog that reports on Chicago policing matters. It's the first outfit that reported on this bill. If this passes, mental illness will be an excuse to attack and beat police officers. In fact, who wants to bet there will be thousands of people who suddenly have doctor notes that permit them to attack cops? And you know what? That's spot on, Ryan, isn't it? That's what you were alluding to.
Yeah, exactly. And look, what everybody's going to do is they're going to say that they've got temporary psychosis caused by whatever, anger, past grievances, drug addiction, whatever excuse, homelessness, whatever. They'll have an excuse and they'll say it created this temporary psychosis, and that therefore I beat the cops and I shouldn't be charged. We can't accept this kind of behavior from anyone. There is no excuse. Mental health might explain why somebody would attack a cop, but it's not always indicative. But even at that, we cannot handcuff law enforcement. They have to be able to enforce the laws. And quite frankly, we've made the job for local law enforcement so difficult, particularly in places like Chicago. I honestly don't know why anyone would want to be a Chicago police officer unless you must love that city so much you just can't see straight to want to deal with that nonsense. And knowing that any mistake you made, every decision you make is going to be judged through the lens of some lefty that would just as soon fire you as praise you for doing a good job.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I could make the argument, who would want to be a cop right now anyway? But thank God they're out there. God bless every one of them. The ones I know are just outstanding people, and I know a bunch of them. Let's stay on Chicago briefly here because it's easy to do. We used to do this every week. We probably should be getting back to that. But the numbers out of Chicago, ladies and gentlemen, since this came out of Chicago about this ridiculous bill, imagine what it will do to these numbers. But shot and killed in March. Let me just give you these numbers. This is just for March, and we are, 13 days in. Shot and killed 14. Shot and wounded 33, total shot 47. That's just for March. The week in progress right now, Monday through Thursday. Today is Thursday. Shot and killed 6, shot and wounded 16, total shot 22. And year to date, Ryan, these numbers are atrocious. Shot and killed 70, shot and wounded 220 for a total of 290 shot. And, we don't see any change year after year. If we look at 2024, this weekend in 2024, what do we have now? March to date, 14. Last year, 2024, this past weekend, 3 killed, 16 wounded. This year, 6 killed, 13 wounded. 2023, 1 killed, 17 wounded. 2022, 2 killed, 25 wounded. And then 2021, this was part of our Summer of Love nonsense. 6 killed, 39 wounded. But on average, it's 18 wounded, 16 wounded, 14 wounded, 18 wounded, 30 wounded in 2016 and 2015, 18. You see that average number is about 18, and anywhere from 2 to 8 people killed on any given final tally for a weekend throughout the year in Chicago. It is unbelievable, and they do nothing to stop it. Now, does a bill like this stand a chance to pass, Ryan? I would hope no, but in a place like Chicago, who knows? I mean, it's hard to predict. I would hope that it doesn't. What do you think?
I got to think the good people of Illinois, maybe outside that core public defender group in the city of Chicago will have some sense and realize that really all you're doing there, it's a recipe for chaos, as I said before. There is no reason that you need to have a law like this. If there are circumstances that warrant, some reduction of sentence or something, that's a decision a judge can make after evidence is presented. To simply carte blanche say that any person with a mental illness is allowed to, assault any other, but in particular law enforcement who probably was called to stop a disturbance or some other event that this person with quote-unquote mental illness was causing, and to handcuff them. Look, if I was a cop and that was the law in Chicago, I'd roll up on a scene, I'd look at somebody and say, oh, well, they look like they're mentally ill, I'm just going to go to the next call. That's the practical reality of what cops will face, and they'll have difficult decisions, and quite frankly, I wouldn't blame any of them for just moving along.
And a lot of them have. A lot of them have packed their bags and gone to sunny places where they're welcomed, like Florida, for example. Yeah, I don't know. I'm hopeful that all this wokeness nonsense is coming to an end, that we get back to some semblance of common sense, that a bill like this is being laughed at more so than taken serious. But I got to be honest with you, it's already picked up 2 co-sponsors. So, you have to wonder what the constituents of these people who would co-sponsor something like this, do they even know? I would bet my bottom dollar that a lot of the constituents don't even have a clue, Ryan, that this is what their local reps are doing. Many of whom are cops or families of cops.
I'm sure you're right. It requires somebody like you to get the word out, and hopefully folks in Illinois are listening and can see this, particularly anyone related to in law enforcement or related to somebody in law enforcement, and get the word out. But no, look, we're going through like a self-selection process, and I would call it sort of a slow-motion Darwin Awards, right? Where you see these blue cities and blue states doing all kinds of stupid stuff, and people are flocking to that, and they're going to live with the consequences or die with the consequences
or get out.
Stupid decisions they're making in blue states.
Or just get out. Ryan Petty, thanks for jumping in here, man. I appreciate the phone call today on a Thursday. That's Ryan Petty. I'm sure we'll talk with Ryan Petty again in the very near future. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. We're going to get up and do it again tomorrow, precisely because they don't want us to talk about these things. That's why they do it. That's why we do it, and they continue to do what they do and gives us content every single day. It never ends, ladies and gentlemen. It is truly remarkable. 16 years on the airwaves. I'm just fascinated by the fact they continue to come up with more nonsense, but I'm glad they do. Armed American Radio will be back tomorrow. We'll see you on the radio, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. See you on the radio. Let me get that mic going for you. Thanks for tuning in today. I appreciate it very much. Hope you guys enjoy your day. Stay safe. Got Friday tomorrow. Generally means Paul Markle, student of the gun, will be here. So we will see you on the radio live again tomorrow. If you're watching on all the social media platforms, we appreciate it. Like them and share them. Thanks for doing that. And make sure, if you're not a subscriber, make sure to subscribe to Armed American Radio and never miss a live radio broadcast. You can do that on any of your favorite podcast platforms. You are listening to a podcast that is in the top 0.5% of podcasts globally. It's quite an accomplishment. We appreciate it. Over 21 million downloads now, or close to 21 million. I have to check the numbers, but it's getting there pretty quick, and we couldn't do it without you. Please support all of our partners. You can find them all at armedamericanradio.com. They make this world go around, and they all have great products. So support them for supporting your gun rights. Take care of yourselves today. Enjoy yourself. Stay safe. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow, guys.